Welcome to Tropes and Tantrums. I'm Amber.
And I'm Danielle. We are just two moms, never without our kids or our Kindles.
Welcome back, book besties.
Hi, everyone.
How are you, Danielle?
I am good. A little tired. It feels like it's been like a long week. I don't know. I mean, maybe it always feels like a long week, but
we have children. It's every day's a long week. Or every week is a long week.
It's been a long week for 6 years now for me. So the first weeks were not long. Those are short weeks.
No, literally.
But now it's long weeks.
The days are, what is the saying? The days are short, but
no, days are long. Years are short.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
But ain't that the truth?
It's seriously.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
You're like, I'm also
tired. Also tired, but I also went to the gym this morning.
I know. So
before coming
you
here.
have a legitimate reason.
And I stopped at Einstein's on the way here and went in and had a bagel.
You went in? That's wild.
Yeah, I go in places, do you
know? I don't not. I don't go in anywhere. I
was I just need some sustenance after that workout. Oh. I mean, it was just upper, but I'm still
tired.
I'm still tired. An 8 a.m. workout is not what I'm used to because I usually work out at 5:30 at night. Mm-hmm. So.
And on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, I don't work out on Sunday. I work out during the week. So.
Fun times. Fun times were had.
How was your July?
July was great. We officially are 1 month in at the new studio. Whoop, whoop. It's been incredible. More than I could have ever asked for, truly. The moms are amazing.
We love that for you.
Legitimately, it's just so lovely. Honestly, I don't have legitimate words to say about it because it's kind of every time I'm there, I'm is this real life? Am I actually totally content?
You just feel at peace.
No, 100% feel at peace. Char's thriving.
Even better.
It's been a totally different world. And I would say I wish I did it sooner, but I actually don't because I wouldn't have had this opportunity had it not come at the perfect time. Sure. So yeah, it's been totally amazing. And like I said, thriving. Moms are great. No weird moms doing weird shit, which we appreciate. Obviously, who wants weird shit done? No one. What else happened in July? I mean, yeah, it was just busy because we were just kind of acclimating to the new dance schedule, which, like I said, was, actually so much better than I could have ever dreamed. Yeah. She started work on her solo. Well, she finished her solo choreography, but now she's in for weekly privates to essentially practice. And she will compete that solo for the first time in November, the middle of November. Okay. So I'm excited about it. It's super duper cute. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just feels like a totally different world. Also, this past month has been a lot of planning for the homeschool co-op that I'm starting.
Yes. Which is so amazing.
So amazing. Like I said, it's just another thing that just kind of fell into place at the right time. I had kind of been looking for that kind of community, and it's amazing. Actually, most of the girls on Char's team actually homeschool, which is amazing.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's even though they do a different version, essentially, it's just great because it's you don't have the weird. I don't know if this is a common thing because probably most of you are listening or do not homeschool, which is great. But one of the most common things as a homeschool parent is when people ask your kid, where do you go to school? Or what grade are you in? And then Charlotte's oh, my mom teaches me at home. And says it proudly, not in a weird way, but it definitely obviously garners some reactions. Yeah. Despite how much more common it has become.
you're actually educating your children. You're not unschooling your children.
Correct. And like, I always, abide by the, like, as a parent, like, you do you, but I think that as someone who has been formally homeschooling for 3 years, I do have pretty strong opinions about the way in which people are or are not actually educating their kids, which actually in turn makes people like me who work their asses off to do it right look bad, which is whatever. Again, I would say you do you, but no. And again, I will always advocate for there's some aspect that, like, I'm not going to ever advocate for people homeschooling if it's not a fit for them and their family. And that's also something that a lot of people are like, everyone should homeschool. No, they should not. It's a lot of diligence. So looking for the right community has been kind of a big deal for me. Cause again, I'm not a mom friends girly. I'm just not, it's not who I am. So with the addition of the amazing moms I've met at this new studio, I also started a homeschool co-op. Essentially, it's in the process of being started, but so it's me been like posting on Facebook groups trying to just garner like, hey, like, you want to whatever. And I ended up having like 25 people sign up, which is amazing for like a first shot. But ended up settling on the 5 women who, 6 including myself, who I actually met with yesterday, because I really felt like it was important that we as moms met prior to make sure it was the best fit. Because as much as it's about our kids, it's 100% about the connection as moms.
Correct, because you all spend all your time with your children. You're educating your children. We're going to do this co-op, but like, are we all going to get along? Do we have the same values? Do we want all those things? And obviously you're not looking for every single person to be exactly the same as you, because it's just not physically possible, but you want that kind of foundation that feels like cohesive. Cohesive, natural, like, I get it. Yeah. And so it's like building a village. 100%. And again, not a mom friends girl. So it's really hard for me to create friendships out of nothing. And especially with essentially complete strangers. I mean, complete strangers with the only commonality of we homeschool our children. And our kids are around the same age. Yes. And so like I said, I wanted it to be really important that we all met sans kids, because when you're meeting people and you have kids with you, there's nothing. You're focused on are you keeping your kids alive. Correct. So that's like the other day when we were like, I don't remember what it was, but Dallas like wanted to like be in the book club meeting, and I was like, you aren't wearing pants, like you literally cannot be on the you like. And it's like, I don't know if I ever, as a parent, could have imagined like how many times I say like, you can't do XYZ because you're not wearing clothes. Yeah. Like, I just never, I guess it like never crossed my mind how often in a day I say, I'm a Winnie the Pooh mom. Yeah. No, same. So like I can't really expect. I can't tell my kids to put on pants if like I'm not wearing pants. No, 100%. But like, 100%. If we're gonna leave the house, you need to put pants on. You want to be on a video chat with, or like you want to go in the front of the house or the back of the house. Yes. I would still like you to be wearing pants. On. Yeah. So back to what we were saying. You really missed just that was such a moment. That's so tropes and tantrums. It is so much so. But like I was saying, so we met in person yesterday, and I was like, well, nobody's probably going to show up, even though they all RSVP'd yes. And so you picked like 5 women and were like, let's meet up. They were the ones, 25? No. So I actually sent all 25 the email, and I said, this is the information about it. And essentially at the end of the email, I said, if this is something you'd like to move forward on, because I told them this is the cost. Because I'm not going to I don't want to F around. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you didn't know there was a cost and now you're in too deep. And now I'm going back to the drawing board and finding new people. So I basically at the end of the email said, hey, if this is something you want to move forward, please reply back to the email. I want to set up a time for the moms to meet at the end of
at the beginning of August, end of July, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I probably had about 10 of them reply back to that, say yes, that I want to. And I said, okay, these are the 2 dates. These are the 2 times. Let me know what works for you. And then the women who said the times worked, whatever, and replied back to that, then we set up a time, which was yesterday. So I picked a coffee shop. We went, I had made like packets because obviously I'm a psychopath and need to look like I have my shit together. And I made packets. I said, this is like what I've been working on. This is my expectations. This is why I'm doing this, all the things. And it was super well received. Everyone was like, oh my God, this was like more than like I anticipated. All the moms
I'm Danielle. I don't fuck around.
No. Especially when it comes to my kids. And I explained to them, I said, you will find me totally chaotic about 90% of the time. But I said, when it comes to the girls, like we don't fuck around and find out. Like, it's just not a thing. And they were like, this is amazing. There's actually one mom, which is incredible, is she actually has 2 kids in college and a 6-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And she's homeschooled both of the kids from the ones who are in college from kindergarten. So she is like very well versed, and she was like, this is actually like the best thing I've like seen in all the years I've been doing this, which is like,
that's amazing.
You know, I live for that. But yeah, they were all very much similar minded moms in the sense of like, you know, we're a little helicopter-esque in terms of like making sure our kids are not
1,
killing
2, 3,
themselves.
4, that's what we do.
Yes. And that like gave me a lot of peace of mind, because like I was like, I appreciate when parents are watching out for other people's kids.
Yes.
I'm very much like that as a parent. We went to a pool party a couple weeks ago for one of the girls onto our dance team, and it was like at like a neighborhood community pool, but it's like it was a bigger pool. It wasn't like, you know, like a tiny pool. And one of the moms whose kids were at the party brought her own blow up slide. I mean, again, you want to bring your own pool toys to someone else's birthday. I mean, solid, whatever, you do you. So she's blowing up this big slide at the pool. And so one of the other moms, one of the moms that I've become fairly close to, her and I are like watching this happen. And we connected because we've connected for a lot of reasons, but at the pool party, she was wearing a Magnolia Parks shirt. And I was like, and I texted Amber, I was like, there's no way that she's not like that. You don't just buy, Magnolia Parks merch. And then I like confirmed, I looked at the back of the shirt, cause I was like, I just need to confirm that this is not like something else that I'm not aware of. And it fully had all of BJ's tattoos listed out. And I was like, done, sold. She's stuck with me now. I'm like,
we just became friends.
We're literally friends. And so we're watching this slide being blown up. It's like large, like room size, giant slide. And I'm like, it's also a nighttime pool party.
Oh God.
Windy because we're in monsoon season.
Yes.
And you now have 6 and 7-year-olds pushing this slide in the pool. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And she also looked at me, she's like, no. And I was like, we're gonna get along just fine. So I go, Char's not going on that slide, because she's gonna get trapped underneath. It's getting blown away, whatever. So then they put the parents put the slide on the cool deck, and they're putting water to make it go faster. And I'm like, I could not be me, could not be that parent. It's not me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with who I am as a parent. And so she goes, I said, I'm telling Char, like, you can't get on the slide, and I'm going to be bad parent. Like, and I don't care, because I'm not having something happen to you. It's a pool. It's nighttime. It's windy. No. So she goes, hey, she calls her 2 girls over. And she's like, girls, Charlotte's mom's gonna say something. And so I was like, okay, perfect. So I'm gonna give the pep talk. She's like, you don't want me to give the pep talk. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, hey girls, like the 3 of them, Charlotte, and then her 2 little girls. And I was like, hey, I just don't think it's a good idea for us to, be doing the slide tonight. And they're like, oh no. And they're like really sad about it. I'm like, no, it's okay. You guys are going to play over here. And there's so many toys. There's glow sticks in the bottom, the pool's glowing. Like, it's a whole thing, whatever. So they're a little sad about it. And like, they're like, we don't want to do this. And then she comes in, she goes, we're not dying tonight. We're not dying tonight.
She's my kind of girl.
She is. And I'm like, done. I'm like, say, she goes, she was like, it just wasn't, you weren't forceful enough. And I was like, sold, done. I mean, you said it. I'm okay with that because I feel exactly the same.
That's literally was something I would say. Like, no, we're not dying tonight. So
no,
that's not happening.
No, literally.
Tonight's not the night.
No, literally. That's what she said. Like, tonight's not the night that anyone's dying. Yeah. It was great. It was perfection. We are going to be friends for sure because she, like, you say that, done. And like the fact that she like trusted me to like say to her kids, also great. Yeah. But like, it's just different when you meet parents that you trust to be like eyes on your kids.
Yes.
Like I would do pretty much anything for anyone's kid. Like if I saw a child in danger, like I would attempt to do as much as I could to help that child. But not all parents are like that. And I guess I just don't like think about it that way because I know you're also like that, but like it doesn't compute in my head. So I'm always just really grateful when people are really vocal that they're that way because then it makes me feel more comfortable. Like not to like leave my kids, but like if I were to say, hey, I'm going to go run an errand or whatever at dance.
Or like, hey, I need to go use the restroom.
And that's just been the really nice thing of, you know, creating these friendships with these women who you can tell are like that, not only now at dance, but thankfully through this co-op. So essentially they all said, yes, we're excited. We want to move forward, which was amazing.
Excited for you.
I know. I'm really excited. It's wild because if you would have told me a year ago that I would be like actively in this space, I like as far as like creating these communities in these spaces, I would have told you were crazy because it's just been so.
And you're still doing the online, like for people who want to but don't want to meet up in person or like live
or can't. Yeah. So essentially, it's going to be. I'm calling it like it's like a children's book club essentially because every week there'll be a different book. But when you're purchasing it online, you can purchase books individually. You'll be able to purchase the guides like by month, like in a whole bundle, or cool. like for the year, whatever.
Do you want to plug it? Do you want to tell them what the...
Oh, yes. So it is... Oh, shit. Maybe I should know what the handle is because the handle on Instagram is different because I could not get the one I wanted because, you know, some people are probably using it for absolutely nothing. It is the Sunny Club Schooling, and that's on Instagram. It doesn't have a website yet because I'm probably just going to connect it to my other stuff. So, but you'll be able to come in a couple of weeks, hopefully, because this is August, so it'll drop on Tuesday. But in a couple of weeks, you'll see that you can purchase those. Like I said, you can buy them individually in a bundle, all the things. But yeah, it's just been a really fun thing to pour myself into because it's just been trying to find kind of what the next steps look like for me in this space. So I'm getting to kind of use all the things I love and, you know, are passionate about, but like in a new facet, which is fun. And yeah, like I said, it's just been a great season of creating these relationships in places that I needed relationships, like good people, and I'm just excited to see.
Well, and like you've tried out different co-ops and it just wasn't.
A couple of the moms had tried that one out too. God bless. We all were still traumatized by all the dirt, and I was like happy. I was like, I just live on no. I'm not a dirt outdoors mom.
We do things inside.
I'm an indoors AC girly. I mean, I love the outdoor, like zoo, totally fine. As far as like dirt and mud and climbing and hiking, no, not for me. And I basically out front, and I was like, I just don't want anyone to come in this co-op and think that that's like what we're gonna be doing because it's not my vibe, and that's okay if it's yours, but like.
It's not mine.
Don't come here expecting that. And thankfully they're all on the same page because I think that, you know, again, that's the stereotype that you get as far as homeschool goes is like, there's no educational value in what you're doing. And like, what kind of like members of society are you creating? And that's scary, obviously. But I digress. Obviously, just super busy month in July, just a really solid time of, you know, finally feeling settled in so many areas of my life, which I've been waiting for. So how was your July?
Well, Dal started school,
which is amazing.
So amazing. So crazy.
I know.
We went, we did like a staycation.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
It's something like my parents did for my sister and I when we were growing up. We'd go like stay at a hotel, like at a resort, and we'd have like the weekend and whatnot. And so Dallas went up to the resort with my parents Friday night and like had a blast. They went swimming and they went to dinner.
Also, I just have to pause. There is nothing I find cuter than your parents' relationship with Dallas. I just think it's the sweetest thing.
My dad's like, he won't. Charlie is not allowed to spend the night at their house yet until she's potty trained. Yeah. And it's something that like I'm going to start working on. Yeah. Not for that specific reason. No, just for like life. Because she's going to be 3 in December, and I am fingers crossed in January she can start preschool. For 2.5 hours. Like that would be great for her. So I'm just like, I'm going to start introducing it here soon. I just got to. Yeah, it's routine with Dallas being in school and stuff. Yeah, if you don't know, it's like there's a lot of preparation. Like with Dallas, it was so easy. He was overly ready. Yeah, and I just like we had moved into our house. I had transitioned him from the crib to the bed because we needed the crib now for Charlie. Yeah, and then I waited like a few months, and then I woke up one day and I was like, "Today's the day." Set a timer for every 10 minutes, and he was done, which was so nice. So I know I'm going in with low expectations for Charlie, honestly. But yes, no, their relationship with my parents' relationship with Dallas is very special. The three of them, it's so cute with each other. It's just so cute. So they took him up. And one of my mom's friends, who's also a teacher at Dallas's school, they brought their daughter as well, who's going to be in 3rd grade, and her and Dallas are pretty close too, even with the age gap. So they came too, and then we went up. We meaning Alex, Charlie, and I went up Saturday morning, and then had all day Saturday, and then we went to dinner. We're sitting at dinner. Oh yes. And Charlie is upset, and I was like, well, she got a nap, but like not her. Also, if you're like at a hotel, like it's just like there's a lot of stimulation, so you just like never know with kids. But she was like being super clingy, like she wanted me, and I was like trying to eat, and then my dad was like, Charlie, I'll hold you, and she like get up and she'd like walk around the table and go sit with my dad, and then she's like, no, Papa, Mama. And then she'd get down, she'd come over, and Alex is like done eating, and he's like, just come sit with Daddy. And he took her. She sat with him for like 2-3 minutes, and I just finally gave up. And I was like, just because you could tell, like I could read her. She was like squirming around. Yeah. I was like, I know that she'll just settle if she sits in my lap. She sat in my lap. I had her straddled facing me, and she goes, Mama, and I go, what, baby? And she leans back and then proceeds to vomit all over me. And I was just like, let it happen. You could tell that she was trying to like keep it in. Yeah, and you were like, no. And I was like, get it out. It's fine, Mom. This is what Mommy's there for. Like, just throw up all honestly, as a mom, such low tolerance for that. Like, it's like not low tolerance. High tolerance. Yeah, you don't even blink. Like, no, you're just let it out. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I meant to catch it anyway. Yep, it's no big deal. If that had Vance cannot. You know what? And the restaurant, I can't even like remember the name of it off the top of my head, but the restaurant was so nice. They like jumped into action. They got us extra napkins, cups of water to like clean stuff up, which was so nice. I took Charlie to the bathroom and I cleaned her up, cleaned myself up, and I sat back down. I was like, we need to go right now. I was like, we need to leave. And he's like, to go home or just back to the hotel? And I was like, no, just back to the hotel. Like, she and I need to shower again. Like, we need to just you just need to like refresh. You need to like get your like life back together. We're not gonna sit here and wait for the check. Like, get my dad some cash or like something. Like, we got the 3 of us are leaving right now. We're not staying. Yeah. I was like, we gotta go. So we ended up going back to the hotel, and luckily, like, she didn't have a fever. I just think being in the water. It was really hot that day.
And when they're swallowing water and you don't realize they're swallowing pool water, and it just gets like, it's just gross. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just like don't think something like sat well in her stomach, whether it was like pool water and like you said, lunch the heat, or a little bit of heat. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, she got it out. Thank goodness. No fever. And then that was it. Like we just like laid in bed for a little bit. But yeah, it was, but my poor sister, I actually want to ask her like how her reaction was, because I was so focused on Charlie. My sister is a sympathy seeker.
Oh.
So I was like, we got in the car and I was like, oh, I wonder if my sister got sick. Like, I didn't even like think about it. But yeah, my husband does a really good job. Like, he just jumped in. He's cleaning her up. He's cleaning me up.
Vance could never. It's never. It's not a Vance is like Vance is going to throw up proceeding, and it's not out of sympathy. He's disgusted and he cannot function. I can't do like when like animals are sick, like if dogs are no, not for me. Kids, whatever. I think I just like have such a like high tolerance for it as a parent.
I think for like, even so, you talk about like a dog being sick or something. My parents' dog, one time, my sister and her home, like basically just like be at the house where my parents were out of town, and my parents' dog ended up having like really bad stomach problems.
Yeah.
And we had to like clean her in the bathtub because her bottom was just like covered.
Oh my gosh, you're like.
And so I was like telling my sister, I was like, you need to hold up her tail so I can like clean her. Yeah. And she was like behind me, like gagging. Yeah. And I was like, you need to like man up here. Like, it's not like, that big of a deal.
You got to get it together.
She's like, the smell. And I was like, breathe out of your mouth. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
You're like, I don't know what to tell you. You're like,
But so it's really funny because like that stuff doesn't even like register.
No,
and,
it's
like, even for Alex, it doesn't even register. Like when Charlie was a baby, he was in the middle of the night changing her diaper, and she like pooped up his arm.
Oh yeah,
and we were at the point, thank goodness, that her umbilical cord was off, so we could just like he was just like
get her in.
Kicked the bed, and he was like, "Get up, we're getting in the shower. I need your help." And I was like, about to start pumping, and I was like, "Oh my god."
No, Vance could never. Nope. Not at all. Any of it. All of it. None of it. Zero of it. He can't do it. So it's me 24/7, which is fine. I don't really care. Thankfully, like Shar doesn't get sick that often. Thankfully, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Eloise doesn't like the thought of being dirty, messy, gross. Like it triggers her a little bit. So she like fully, and I don't know how or why or whatever, I'm grateful for it, but she will only throw up in the toilet. Like she will physically get up and like walk herself to the bathroom.
So what's so funny is Dallas, he had last year had the stomach bug.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
And he refused to throw up in the toilet. He's like, that's disgusting. I like go to the bathroom in that. Like that's
You're not.
Like, and I was like, okay, can I get you a trash can? And he was like, no, that's where trash goes. I was like, we're not throwing up on the floor. Like, so where are you going to throw up? And so I had convinced him that it was okay to throw up in the bathtub. Oh, so okay. Now he recently just, he was sick. Like, I'm actually going to talk about, we all got sick in July.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, yeah.
And he actually, like, threw up in the bath. He, like, got up. And all of a sudden I hear his mom.
Yeah.
And I ran in there and he's over the bathtub, doing his thing. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I was like, dude, this is why we do this, because look, I can turn on the shower.
Just rinse. Yeah.
And then I can throw some
like bleach. Yeah.
Stuff in here, and I can rinse it down, and it's not that big of a deal. And he was like, okay. But it was so funny because that's like the first place he went. And my mom had said, like, oh, maybe I'll get him, growing up, we had a puke bowl.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And the big plastic bowl.
Yeah.
And so when he had the stomach bug, my mom was like, oh, we'll get you a puke bowl. And she was like sending me all these reels of like, put a glow stick underneath like a grocery bag in there
so they can see it
at night. And I was like, no, he won't. Like, convinced him that the bathtub is the best place for him to
it's
do
okay.
that, so that's where he's gonna do it. But yeah, so Charlie has never done that except all over me, which is fine. Like, honestly, I didn't even blink.
No, we don't.
But my husband just jumps right in, and I think a lot of that is to do with his mom.
Yes, nurse, that makes sense. We don't. We have a puke bucket, but it's like the Taylor Swift like movie bucket. Like, I mean, it just tracks in my home. In my home, it's like it's just easier that way. So we don't use it for literally anything else. That's the only thing.
But but then she was fine. Like, honestly, Charlie was. She didn't get sick after that. And then Dal started school the following week. I was fully prepared for full blown meltdown. And
I mean, I think it's the best way to be. You have to kind of prepare for the absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah. And well, at preschool, I was able to walk.
Yes. Which we talked about.
So that was easy, right? Because like he knew that I knew where he was going to be. He knew that like I would help him get to where he needed to be.
It's the comfort of the feeling like, okay, I don't need to know what I'm doing, where I'm going.
Because my mom's got it.
Yeah, because she's the adult in the situation. She's
correct
doing her thing.
So when we went to meet the teacher, we were told that like, just do drop off the way you would do it, where they just hop out of the car or whatever. And I thought about like rebelling.
I know, we talked about it.
Me just parking and walking him to the gate and like letting him walk through the gate by himself. They didn't want parents on the campus, which I totally understand. I'm
still shocked about like that, like for the first week of school, especially for kindergartners. I guess that just blew my mind, which we obviously talked about.
Yeah. So, and it blew my mind too. Like, these kids are
so little.
So little.
Yeah.
So I told him the day before we started, we did a dry run. I did a dry run of like the path that we would take to school.
That's so Amber. It's not even funny.
Well,
that's so
for Dallas. Like, you have,
no, I know, but it's just the way that you know that that's what he needs, and like you're like, I feel most comfortable doing that because I know that it's gonna make him feel better about it.
I literally got him up that day before school. Exactly the time I would get him up for school. We had breakfast. We left at the time we would normally leave. Like, I did everything. We did the whole like route for drop off. I said that, and I parked for a minute. I said, this is where you're going to jump out. This is where you're going to go in, the gate, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, Mom, I got it. So we get to school and I was like, okay, Dallas, it's time to get unbuckled. And all you're going to do is when I come to a stop and I say, it's time to get out, you get out. And he was like, okay, Mom. So he gets out and there's a staff member that the place was like crawling with staff members just, to help and stuff like that, which was great. And the teacher goes, all right, bud, do you know where you're going? Dallas said with his full chest, yeah, I got this. And I go, like, no, he has no idea where he goes after he walks in that gate. You're going to have to show him. Like, I was like, absolutely not.
You're like, nope.
Nope. Absolutely not. So
you're like, appreciate the confidence, but you do not.
You need just a tad bit of help. So she was kind enough to like help him, show him where the kindergarten playground is and all the things. And there were so many parents like walking the kids to the gate and then like saying goodbye. And I was like, I wish I would have done that, but I'm so glad I didn't at the same time because I feel like it might have made it worse.
Yeah.
Because when I picked him up from the first day of school, I asked him, I was like, so how was your first day of school? He was like, well, I cried and I was sad, but then I got happy and I remembered that I am brave and I can do this. And I was just like, oh, thank goodness. And then the second day he said that he cried again. But then he goes, I remember that I was brave and that I can do this. And then I stopped crying. And then he said, when I picked him up on the third day, he said, Mom, I didn't even cry today.
Oh,
and
good.
I was like, that's
we love
great.
that.
I'm so happy that you didn't. And he is always excited to go back to school. He only goes to school 4 days a week, which I love. I love that Monday through Thursday schedule. So every week's a 3-day weekend, and if they don't have school on Monday for a holiday, it's a 4-day weekend. So we're loving that schedule. He comes home and he's so ready to do his homework, all the things. But this week has just been extra tough. It's the first full week that we had.
Yeah.
So he came home and just extra meltdowns. Because he's tired. Like, that's all it is. And I keep telling him that, like, you're just tired, dude. Like, that's the reason why you're acting the way you are. So let's just go to bed. Like, so we've been putting him down just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes earlier than normal. Just so he can get that extra rest. Because I'm like, your brain. Well, then we went through, he wasn't eating his full lunch.
Okay.
Which was great. I go, well, are you talking too much? Because he's a yapper. And he comes by and honestly... and
you didn't need to raise your hand. Everybody knows. Everybody knows it's okay.
No. But I go, is it because you're talking too much? He goes, no, I just don't want to eat my sandwich. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not just gonna snack all day at school, because you have your two recess snacks, and then you have your lunch where I'm packing you like a juice box, a sandwich, fruit, another snack. Like, I'm like, you have to eat your sandwich. Your brain needs to be able to work the rest of the day, and you're eating lunch at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was like, you need. And then, because then you're coming home and you're like, I'm starving. And it's like, okay, well,
you're like, no
this
kidding.
is a problem.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of push and pull with that, but hopefully we'll figure that out. Well, and I can't get him to eat anything else.
I ate rice cakes every day for lunch at school. So it's like
he only wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I mean, at least it's a sandwich. I only eat rice cakes. Literally nothing on them. Just plain.
Gross. But I told him, I was like, well, I'll make your sandwich one of your recess snacks if I have to. And so you're just snacking at lunch.
Yeah.
And he was like, please don't do that, because I like to have fun at recess. And I said, then eat your sandwich at lunch. So yeah, we're that.
I think it's also a little bit. I think it's a little.
Overwhelming.
I think it is too, and I think it's
because
like a little.
At home, he eats his whole lunch, and
well,
I pretty much give him the exact same thing he eats at school.
I think it's also that they have a time limit. I think it's a little stressful too, is because then they feel like, oh my God, I have to finish in this amount of time. I have to eat at this specific time every single day, and I have this amount of minutes, and I have to sit down, I have to eat, then I have to clean up, but I still want to talk to other people. I think it's just I think it'll probably get better. I think it's just a little bit of a routine change.
Doing also is on Fridays, I'm going to have lunch be the same time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And just have it be the same time, and you have the same amount of time to eat.
Yeah.
So we can practice. And
that's one of the things people actually say to practice with your kids before kindergarten. Obviously,
but I didn't know what time lunch
was.
Oh,
no, 100%. No, I'm just talking about the time limit.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's also something they say to do over the summer. To keep them on schedule is to figure out what the next year their lunchtime is, and then at what time they're allowed, like the allotted time they have to eat. And then go from there. I was like, I kind of love that.
I think it's like one of those things, like of all the things you think about, like in school, like I think we forget like that we like
used to have a schedule. Like
we had to eat lunch at a certain time, and we only had a certain amount of time. And I just remember how chaotic it was. You'd wait in line. Like, I mean, I'm talking more like junior high school, because like Hamilton obviously was so busy, and you had to like wait in line to like get your food. And you were like, if you took like, if it was busy and the people would be pushing, and it was like it was a nightmare.
So Dallas's school actually doesn't have hot lunch.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't like have like the thing, but you can do a program where they basically DoorDash like Chick-fil-A, Valencia's Pizza,
oh my God,
or something else.
That's crazy.
So you can pay extra money. Not that we're paying him to go to school by any means, but like you can like put money on their account and like pick the days that they are supposed to go do that, and they'll have it delivered to the school.
That's crazy.
And I was like, I can really get this kid to eat anything else besides mac and cheese for dinner. I'm not spending money on a Chick-fil-A.
Oh God, no! Like, I know.
I'm not doing all of that nonsense.
Also, speaking of things that they don't prepare you for as a parent, is just kids and the way that like they eat or don't eat don't eat exactly. at all. It's
Dallas eats ketchup with his cheese quesadillas and his pizza.
And I mean,
at this point, I'm like, if that's what I got to do to get you to eat, I'm gonna do it.
Vance and I have the conversation a lot because our girls eat so vastly different, and Vance and I eat vastly different, to be totally fair. I'm one of the pickiest eaters that exists on planet Earth, which again, I've made my bed, I lie in it, I'm fine with it. Everyone else has a bigger problem with me being a picky eater than I do, to be honest with you. I really don't. I've lived my whole life like this. I don't really care. I don't know how my parents lived this life, but they did. But like Shar is very much a picky eater, and she does not eat a lot of things, which again, you win some, you lose some. I'm not going to fight you every single, you don't have the energy as a parent to fight over food, but Eloise will eat everything and anything at any given time. If you're eating, she's definitely going to be eating all the time.
So our kids are, again,
very similar.
So Charlie will just be like, I just want whatever Bubba's having. Well, it's like, okay, fine. But then, like, she sees what you're eating, and she like,
wants it.
On a bite, can I try? And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And then she's like, can I have it? And I just, like, at this point, I give her my whole plate. I'm just like, here you go.
I think sometimes I fight it if I, like, am really, like, if I'm really wanting what I'm having.
Well, I'll just go get more.
No, but I'm saying, like, if I order something from somewhere and, like, she's like, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And there's no holds barred. Spicy, like nothing. She will eat anything. Salsa, like the whole freaking chip is salsa.
That's a Brooks thing, though.
You think?
You should see Alex eat chips and salsa.
Hold on a second.
You never want to sit next to Alex at a Mexican restaurant.
Hold on a second. Pause. We went to Chili's on Friday.
Oh yes, Chili's.
We went to Chili's on Friday. I love the chips and salsa from Chili's. It's like one of my favorite like chips and salsa that's not a Mexican restaurant.
Dallas loves their chips and salsa.
It's my favorite. And so I'm watching him, and like all the salsa's gone, but there's like a significant amount of chips left, and I'm pissed because now I don't have any more salsa until they come over. Yeah. And I remember being like, why are you like, what, how? Yeah. And now we know. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
I don't like it because I just now I know because Eloise is the same way, and I'm like, what is this?
We'll go to dinner as a family with like Alex, my in-laws.
Yeah,
and I'm not just my in-laws. Like we do like a huge family dinner, and we go to Casa Reynoso, and they make sure Alex is on the other side of the table.
I mean, because fair.
So they can all have chips and salsa, and he can just will eat chips and salsa for a meal.
No, so will Vance.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a family.
Now we know they're sort of like family, sort of
like family. Cousins. Nice. So yes, and then I went on a girls trip for 24 hours. That was supposed to be
cut short.
48 hours, actually 72 hours, but. We got up to Munns Park. So excited to be there. We're having fun. We're drinking. Had my first espresso martini, which wasn't terrible for someone who doesn't drink coffee.
I was just thinking that because it tastes very much like coffee.
It could have been the way that my friend made it because she knows that I don't like coffee.
Okay, because I was going to say, every espresso martini I've ever had is very much like I'm drinking straight coffee. Right. See, here.
I didn't have that feeling.
Oh, I think it's also, like you said, the way that it's made, I think.
So we're having a good time. We're playing Mexican Train. it's getting really dark, so we go in and we're getting ready to have like dinner and we're gonna watch a movie. So, and she like got us all little goodie bags. She got us pajamas and like all this stuff. So I was in my room and I was changing and I was like, oh, I don't feel so great.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, you know, when you have a fever and you're like shivering and like, but you're also sweating at the same time.
Yeah, and you have like, you're like clammy and like you just like feel like disgusting. Yeah.
So I texted Alex and I was like, I think because prior to that, Charlie had been sick all that week. Mm-hmm. With just whatever the summer cold that was going around. That everybody got. Yes. Yeah. And that Dallas got right before I left. Mm-hmm. So then I texted Alex and I was like, I think I got it. And he was like, well, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm not really sure. I think I have a fever. Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, do you want me to come get you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me sleep and like, let me figure it out. So I didn't eat dinner because I was like, I
don't feel great.
I don't feel great. I'm not going to eat.
Yeah.
So we watched a movie, that new Zac Efron, John Cena movie.
I have no idea
Ricky
what movie.
Stanicky or something like
that.
I
have no idea what movie you're talking about, but I trust your opinion.
It was a comedy and it was actually pretty funny. Like almost pee your pants laughing funny.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea.
I dozed off like once or twice because, you know, fever, don't feel
good.
I went to bed, woke up in a cold sweat.
Oh, gosh.
At 3 a.m., texted Alex and I was like, you have to come get me. I was like, I'm so miserable. I'm so uncomfortable. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
So he heard his phone go off. So he called me and he's like, what's going on? And I was like, I have I'm either my fever is spiking more or I just broke my fever.
Either way, I feel like
miserable and I need you to come get me. And he's like, got it. He got the kids up and got in the car and came and got me. And then we had to drive home from Hunts Park.
And you're like,
I was like, oh my God. And I had to like wake up my friend and be like, hey, like, I'm really sorry. And like out of the 6 of us that were supposed to go on this trip, only 3 of us went. Mm-hmm. And then it went from 3 of us to 2 of them.
And you're like,
and I was just like, ugh.
And then you feel bad.
Well, yeah, I felt bad because I like was so looking forward to this trip and all the things. So yeah, that was a complete bummer. And then Alex proceeded to get sick, but he was sick for a lot longer than the rest of us.
Talked about it because I told you that I had gotten sick.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, Alex literally like just got over it. Like after so long. It was gruesome. I actually forgot that happened.
Yeah, it was awful.
Because it wasn't just like a typical cold, because I had like body aches.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting at Charlotte had 2 days straight of solo practice. Mm-hmm. And it was the Tuesday that we were sitting at the studio. It was like 10 in the morning. And I was sitting with Eloise at the studio and I couldn't even sit like in their like chairs. Cause I was like, I need to be like, it's some contortionist position to like even like be comfortable because my body's like hurting. Ugh, and so I literally sat, she only had an hour, but it was like 10:15 probably and started at 10. It was 10:15 and I got in the car with Eloise and we're like sitting there. She's playing with every fucking button that's in my car. I'm like, I don't even care. You're fucking like gonna put us in reverse and we're gonna go flying. But I'm like, I feel like absolute shit right now. Yeah. And I literally, of course, she finishes like 15 minutes later and they're like, oh, she's done early, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and they're like, you have to just come in and like whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like getting in and then I have to drive home and like driving. No, when you're driving and you're sick and like, you're like, I just want to be in my bed. And of course then I just want to rock. And then you just have kids and then you have kids and you're sick. And when you have kids and you're sick,
Alex felt so crappy that he stayed home from work one day.
You're like
sick. And that is so unlike him.
Mm-hmm. No, Vance was the same. When Vance got it, Vance also stayed home. Again, same. They just don't stop.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh, what are you doing? Yep. All right. Don't know which one.
Okay, so let's do book stuff now. Mm-hmm. Now that we've covered life,
all the things.
All the things. Let's talk books.
Books.
Where'd you end up in the month of July?
I hit 9 books total for the month of July. 59 for the year. I think I'm at over that now, but 3,447 pages, 89% Kindle, 11% audiobook. Average rating 4.42 stars. 7 out of 10 of the books were on my TBR, which is solid for me anyway.
So what'd you read?
For the month?
Yeah.
Well, top 2 reads were Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I actually got it as an ARC, but it had come out it came out in July. So if you haven't, highly, highly, highly recommend. The romance, it is a cello player and a violinist in a New York City, orchestra. And it was just,
oh yeah, you texted me. You're like,
yeah.
Who knew that?
No, because I do
be so spicy.
So spicy. It was actually really, really good. Like well placed spice, obviously. Just a really solid romance. If you're looking for one, just 5-star. Obviously, easily 5-star. I also, we're not going to go into it, but my other top read was Play Along by Liz Tomford. Obviously, check out the next episode.
I was about to say,
because that's also a 5-star. It was amazing, but again, we'll talk about it then. I also read The Outsiders because I had literally never read The Outsiders before.
Is wild.
Never, because
which is so wild.
It was the required reading of regular English, and I hadn't taken regular English until junior year, which it was not required before. It was required before junior year, so I hadn't read it. I really enjoyed myself. It was obviously just a super quick read,
you
classic.
Just not gotta watch the movie.
No, I have to watch the movie. I'm just very excited about it. I also read Ashley Poston's newest book, A Novel Love Story. Again, magical realism. Takes place in a deceased author's fictional town.
Interesting.
Concept was there. Concept was good. Execution was a little shaky.
Didn't she write Dead Romantics?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And the 7-Year Slip.
Didn't read.
No, you. I was going to say you didn't read it. Both 7-Year Slip and Dead Romantics I loved more than this one. This one still teetered 4 to 4.25 stars because I just enjoy her writing. But not my fave of hers. Yeah, just not my fave. Also read Come Break My Heart Again. Obviously, if you've not listened to the episode, 5 stars, amazing, wonderful. Also read Bridesmaid for Hire for our book club. It was the biggest flop of the month for me. I'm not going to go into it. I despised it. Like 2.5 stars, basically. Everybody else loved it.
I gave it 4.
I know. I could not. And it had all the makings of a book I would love because it's fake dating, it's tropical wedding, it's rich people problems.
Wait, let's talk about it real quick because I also read it in last month, obviously.
Yeah.
We talked about it for book club. But so I gave it 4 stars. I hated everything from the beginning till when everything started to fall apart. And then I loved it. That was my... I
just recalled. I despised the male main character.
Yeah, you did.
I couldn't remember when I was filming my TikTok about it. I was like, why did I really hate it? And it was him.
I loved the wedding vibe, the tropical vibe, the fake dating, all of this.
I think you would like The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, quite frankly, because it was significantly better. It was like if this book had been good.
Okay.
For me, and Elodie and I both loved The Paradise Problem. I think you would love it.
Okay.
It was funny. It was very funny though. So because I have 2 separate Instagrams as do you. I actually have more than 2, but that's neither here nor there. But I never post my books that I'm reading on my normal Instagram account. And I don't really know why that I don't, but I don't. And I think sometimes I just don't want people being weird and whatever.
Yeah.
Again, neither here nor there. It's just my thing. So I posted my July wrap up of all the books I read, whatever. And obviously this book I had read. And so I put 2.5 stars. That's what it was for me. And that's very generous for me, honestly. And this girl that I'm not friends with, acquaintances with, replied, and she was like, oh my God, I loved Play Along. And she goes, I loved Bridesmaid for Hire too. I just thought it was so great. And I was like, No, it wasn't even no, I didn't even post the video. It literally was the graphic with the stars. It had the stars on it. And I was like, ma'am, you did not look at my post whatsoever. And so I didn't reply because I was like, I don't want to correct you, quite frankly. But I was like, you're so dumb. Like, and like, I feel bad, but like, you didn't even look at it and you like replied and like, at least like look at it, because I despised the book. I thought the book sucked. And again, to be fair to everyone else loved it for the most part, or like enjoyed themselves while reading it. So I am definitely in the minority. So please do not.
It was slow. Like I had to text my sister and be like, please tell me this gets good. Like, please tell me this gets good.
I mean, like I said,
and for me, when it all fell
it did
apart,
get good for you. I also read the second book in Ravenhood, which is Exodus, which I loved more than the first book. I just really enjoyed myself I'm getting to know, I got to enjoy, Jacques, or whatever his name is. I cannot for the life of me remember his name. Not at all. And so I just keep making up new names for this guy. They were giving me a lot of shit on the book.
Tobias.
I can't remember. It's the way they call him the Frenchman that really fucks me over.
I was about to say this. The reason why you think his name is Jacques is because they call him the Frenchman. Don't
call him that. Don't give him that nickname and not have his name be extra French. Like, his name needs to be extra French then.
That's so funny.
Like, Jacques
it still cracks me up.
I know.
Tobias.
I can't remember it.
No, but one thing I will never forgive you for was be like, it's like Twilight. I'm like, it's not like Twilight.
I said the second book felt like New Moon because of the current things. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but like, and don't go into it thinking it's like New Moon, because it's not, apparently.
It's not.
It's like very like high level of slander.
So immediate jail. Immediate jail.
I also read Summer Romance by Annabelle. I can't pronounce her last name. I couldn't pronounce it in the TikTok. I can't pronounce it now. It starts with an M. I read her last book last summer. She also has another book, but I read her last book last summer. And it was okay. It was not like groundbreaking. This one I actually enjoyed a little bit more. Single mom rep, kind of trying to find herself again. A little depressing at times, but not like overtly so. But it was hard because I was slumping because I had read like 2 freaking bangers of books with Not Another Love Song and then Play Along right before. So like I always say, some of the books that I read really get unfair treatment because they don't get chosen where they get placed in the reading order. Finished the month with a thriller, Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. I don't know if that's also how you pronounce her name, but I'm not a thriller girly by any stretch of the imagination, but people were there was a lot of like people were saying it was good, whatever. I needed a palate cleanser. It's a little dark. I don't know why, like the thrillers I read somehow focus around children, which probably should be the last thing that I should be like reading thrillers about. Check the triggers.
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah.
And I had a dream that Dallas was taken.
Oh.
And yesterday he was at Monster Jam or Hot Wheels.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Mm-hmm.
And I woke up that morning and I looked at Dallas and I said, when you go, you hold your dad's hand and you never let go. And he was like, wow. I was like, because it's going to be crowded and it's going to be busy. And Alex looked at me. He was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I had a nightmare.
I got
he's
scared.
Like, what are you reading? And I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I thought I was totally going to be freaked out by the book and I was going to have nightmares. I have not, like, honestly, knock on wood, big time on that one. Because that shit scares the out of me. But I think it was the way that the book all came together. I think that's why mentally I was able to.
Well, see, I'm having a hard time like getting there, and I think I was like catching up on this stuff. I was, doing this stuff.
I mean, it's a fast.
And the Olympics are on.
Yeah.
So I really need to sit down this week and like.
You'll knock it out. It's very fast.
It is.
Yeah.
I just need to like dedicate the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I'm excited actually to talk about that with you, the book with you, because there are certain things that happen that like literally my jaw was like on the ground, like visibly on the ground. And I was like, holy shit. And like I said, I'm not a thriller girl for that reason, because I get scared. But yeah, I just needed something quick. And like I said, it was on KU, and I was like, perfect. A lot of people were saying to read it, and I was like, that's fine. So it was a solid way to end the month.
Good.
What have you been reading?
I read 10 books in the month of July, 3,723 pages. My average rating was 4.4. I'm at 58 out of 130. And then my KU challenge was 8 out of 16, but that's only because I read a lot of physical copy books.
I'm at 10 out of 16. I do have to ask you that really quick about the KU challenge. Not that we're all hyped about the KU challenge, because we actually don't support it at all, because we do, but we don't. So there's one of the things is the unlimited reader, right? Where you read 3 titles in KU on KU. I have read 900 books on KU this month. Not 900, but I've read quite a few that were on KU for sure. On KU, Little Seekers was on KU. Play Along was on KU. Exodus was on KU. Bridesmaid for Hire was on KU. Come Break My Heart Again was on KU.
That's weird. I have it.
So
okay, this is I wonder, and I think this is also why
we hate the Kindle challenge.
Yes, that, and then why I wasn't classified as 16 out of 16 last month for the KU challenge was because maybe it's not on the Kindle book list.
So, okay, so you're saying it should be, but it's not, it's showing all of them.
I'm just looking at this right now.
Garbage. Trash KU challenge. Yeah,
that's really weird.
And I don't read a lot of KU books, and I happened to read a crap ton of KU books last month. And that's what I just had to share it, because I know we do hate the KU challenge as so much.
But like we
continue to talk about it. But
that's so weird.
Yeah, and I'm pissed because I have 10 out of 16, and I know I have through the end of September, but you know me, I like to really not. On top of things. Thankfully, I'm at 34 out of 40 days to get the silver reader, so I'll have that this week, thankfully, which will make me feel better. No, I just had to ask you that because I was like, what the heck, that I literally read that many KU books and didn't get the thing.
That's weird.
No, I'm about to click on a book and then just go to the end because I'm mad about it. But like, you didn't hear that. You didn't hear that from me.
So I read Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I gave that book 4 stars. I actually met somebody at Barnes & Noble who I was talking to the book about on Friday, and she said something that like really clicked. Like, it's meant to be a dark romance, but it reads like a rom-com. And I kind of get that, but like also at the same time, well, I read a lot darker things than you do, Danielle. This was not. I personally didn't think it was super dark.
Let's pause for a second on that whole thought. I don't think it was dark at all. Oh, okay. Was there like
they had dark themes, dark-ish themes, purple.
So, but like it was dark-ish, but like it was like everything was like a joke. So you couldn't, but like, so it just, like you said, it read like a rom-com, but like there's no aspect in there that was dark. It was way more smut than it was dark romance. And
I actually thought it was boring until chapter 10 and everything like clicked into place.
No, which I told you. I said it takes a little bit to get into. Yes. I have Leather and Lark here. You said you will read Leather and Lark. I will as well.
I heard it's better.
And I've heard it's worse. I mean, obviously, we'll have to discuss that at some point. I don't have it on my TBR for this month because it's just not speaking to me.
No, it's
this
not
month.
Speaking to me.
I have a lot of other shit I've got to get through. What did you rate it as far as spice goes? Because the end hit 5 chili peppers for me.
I would say like 4 or 5 chili peppers.
Okay. It was spicy.
It was spicy. And I, like, on my TikTok wrap-up video, I had said, like, I gave this book 4 stars. Like, it, again, meant to be a dark romance, but reads like a rom-com.
Especially as, you know what's ironic, is it's kind of should have been the meeting in the middle of
both
you and I. Because it would have been, I mean, you read significantly more dark romances, and I read rom-coms, essentially. I mean, I'm more emotional. More. And so essentially this book should have been the meeting in the middle for us, and it didn't read that way. Like, in the sense of, like, it's not our, like, perfect, like, marriage book of the two.
And I also, this is my other thing, is I wonder for myself if...
Oh, I rated it 4 as well. Okay.
This was potentially overhyped for me.
That's true.
Everybody, like, who was like, Amber, you have to read this book. Amber, you have to read this book.
Yes.
It's so good. You're going to love it.
And we actually talked about reading it earlier this year. Like, you and I were going to read it for the pod.
Yeah.
And then we were like, nah. We were like, nah, dog. I don't remember what we read.
It was supposed to be like in October. So whatever we read in October.
No, it wasn't. It was going to be in February.
We were going to do a fall.
I thought we were reading it in like February.
No.
I mean.
No, it was like supposed to be like fall time. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So I wonder if, like, my expectation was so high. And then I was, like, reading this. And I read this for one of my book clubs. And I was texting the 2 girls that had already finished it. And I was like, you guys... And they were obsessed. And I was like, you guys can't be real. And they're like, no, it's so good. And then I got to chapter 10 and I was like, okay, I get it now. But someone had commented on what I was talking prior. Someone had commented on that comment that I made in my wrap-up video that, like, that's 10 chapters too long. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I know. I was like, no, I get it. Like, I am not afraid to DNF a book. I am not.
I think that, and, like, again, this is my opinion, but I always think sometimes that people on TikTok, like, have these very strong opinions, and you're like, just shut up. Like, no offense to that person. But, like, I'm like, because you aren't afraid to DNF a book, as am I not afraid to DNF a book.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just are feeling, you're like, okay, I really genuinely believe this is going to get better.
And I truly believed that. And when chapter
100%.
hit, and you know exactly the part I'm talking about. When it was like I think it was like towards the end of the chapter when she's like talking.
Yeah. I think that's
when it clicked for me.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it's funny though, because, like, again, there's totally people who do not DNF books. It cannot be me because I don't have time for that.
It used to be me. And then I, like, really got into reading and, like, creating this platform and all the things, and I'm like, no, I don't have time to read books that, like, aren't bringing me joy or I'm understanding. Like, I just don't have time for it.
It's funny because
I won't read a lot of my some book club books because I'm like, this, I know I'm gonna go into this and DNF it, or I know I'm gonna hate it. It's not even worth my time.
It's actually very funny because it is kind of the way that I've been with buying physical copies of books that I want to read, because I'll buy, like, if they're on sale, whatever, I'll buy it because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, like, I want to read this eventually. And then I had this whole mental block of, like, not wanting to get rid of them because I was like, no, but, like, I'm going to read this book. And then I saw this thing that someone was like, books are, like, not going anywhere. Like, if you don't want to read a book and it's taking up space and, like, in, like, mental space or, like, physical space, you can always get it again. Like, it's never going to go anywhere. Like, you just get rid of it. And it's been, like, the nicest thing because I'm like, I don't feel the pressure of, like, having all these books on my bookshelf that, like, I don't need, like, a massive library of books because I'm like, if it's not bringing me joy or, like, I have no desire to read it right now, why am I keeping it? Like, or I'm not going to read it, like, within, like, a certain time frame, because, I mean, that's why I've gotten rid of so many books on Pango, because I'm like, I literally had, like, 3 copies of Magnolia Parks, the 5th one. Like, why? Like, of what reason? Like, did I have 3 copies? I mean, we don't like, and I'm not talking about the copies that like are the pretty ones. I'm talking about like the new one. Like, I had the new version, and I'm like, I already read this book. I'm not going to reread it. Why do I have this version? And I sold it for like $10. So I'm like, solid. But again, I think that that's one of the things that we've kind of done about like DNFing versus reading books that don't bring us joy anymore.
Also, I read Iron Flame finally. 5 stars. I will be processing until January. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
You can't not be processing still. Like, I mean, I'm still processing, and it's been since November.
No, like, I saw, did you send it? Or did I just, like, see it on my FYP? But it's like a theory that Xaden thinks that Violet's other signet is a truth sayer, and that's why he always is like, ask the right question.
I don't think we've talked about what I believe to be her other signet, because that's not what I believe her other signet to be.
I don't even know where to begin to think about what her other signet is, because like I have to process what happened.
It's just alone. So
like,
much.
I can't handle any more theories. Like, I just need to like.
I think it's one of those things. It's so hard when you're in an unfinished series, because now you're just like sitting in a holding pattern. And I did not wait this long for Iron Flame, because we got Fourth Wing and Iron Flame within the same year. So I got Fourth Wing in May.
And then November
I got Iron Flame. And so now I'm sitting here like, this is garbage. And then you're like, okay, cool. Now I'm done with Onyx Storm after like a week. And then you're going to be waiting for God knows how long for book 4. And like that, I don't like love, because it's for sure slated as 5. So
yeah, I think,
which is scary in the sense of what book 3 brings, because you know it's slated for 5. And so it's like you're never going to get like tied up pretty ends. Ever.
On anything, because everything's going to be open-ended.
Always. And I think that that's where things get really dicey in this point, because you're just like, everything's so open-ended right now.
I think we'll get some closure in some things, and then I think we'll get open.
I don't think I don't think we get closure next book at all.
Well, I like to think positively, okay?
I mean, I am thinking positively. She's looking to sell 900 more books.
Positively, you're wrong.
I'm positive that's not, she's just not going to give us that. And like I said, good. It's so good.
And if you are thinking, you're like on the fence whether or not to read Iron Flame,
I don't care if you're on the fence or not.
Read Iron Flame, and better yet, it's on Kindle Unlimited right now, so
you don't have an excuse.
Go read Fourth Wing.
Also, like, you shouldn't be on the fence ever. And if you're like looking at the fence, there shouldn't be a fence. You don't have to climb it, because you could get hurt. But like I would never climb a fence at any point. I'd get hurt. I just remember there was one time I was at a party, and they were like, oh, the cops are coming, and we're going to have to jump the wall. And I was like,
I'd rather be arrested.
I literally stood at the wall and stared at the wall. I was like, there's no fucking way that I'm getting over this.
Not happening.
I'm not getting over this.
Today
I'm going
is not the day I die.
No, I will get very injured, and that'll actually be worse, because then my parents will be like, I have to now pay your medical bills because you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. No, I didn't have to. The police weren't coming. Someone lied. We're all fine.
Okay.
But no, literally, if you have not, I've obviously been saying it for a year now.
Do it. Like, it's just military romance with dragons, honestly.
I mean, if you want to think of it that way, as like, if it makes you feel better, totally. Is it still a fantasy book? Yes. Just because
there's dragons.
But I'm saying, even though it's a military romance, Fourth Wing is a military romance with dragons. Iron Flame was significantly deeper as far as the lore and the legitimacy of all of the things. It was more than that. Fourth Wing itself is a military romance with dragons. Iron Flame is not that. Iron Flame significantly does not have the amount of romance that Fourth Wing does.
No, 100%.
And so I think that
it still didn't read as a fantasy.
I mean, it's still in the sense of there's all of these different aspects and systems.
I understand like why it's in the fantasy genre.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But
it doesn't read as a romance though.
No.
I mean, you're more looking at like action adventure.
That's what I mean. Like
with magical elements, obviously.
Okay, so that's kind of like where I'm at the stance of like One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crown.
Yes.
To me, it didn't read like a fantasy. It read like an adventure thriller.
Do you think that mentally it makes you feel better if you don't say?
You know what? I think so.
If you say it's not a fantasy, if you're like, I don't read fantasy. I think that's part of it mentally is that you don't want to accept that might be part of your fate, that you've read now multiple fantasy books that you've actually enjoyed. Wild.
Okay, anyway, we're moving on. Play It Along by Liz Tom Ford. 5 stars. We'll talk about that in the next episode because it was our buddy read. Bridesmaid for Hire by Megan Quinn. We've already talked about. 4 stars. I rated it. Come Break My Heart Again. We talked about in the last episode. If you have not listened to it again, listen, read the book. It's so freaking good. 5 stars. It's actually one of my favorite reads of the month. Along with another one. Pain in the Axe by Daphne Elliott. Received that as an ARC. I'll cover that in the ARC segment. 4.5 stars. Worthy, Book 2 by Leah James. Quick, easy. It's like a short story, like not even 100 pages. Billionaire romance, kind of Cinderella story vibe. Excuse me. 4 stars. I read Frayed Bonds by Leah King. I received this as an ARC. 4 stars. I'll talk about it more in my ARC segment. God of Malice by Rena Kent. What a letdown for me.
And everyone
was so disappointing.
Everyone talks about how much they love that book. I mean, not people I like personally, but like people in general.
Yes. Okay. So I have a friend who was like, she the Legacy of God series, like lives in her mind. Because
there's like God of Malice, God of Wrath, God of Fury. Yeah.
I think there's like 5 or 6. So she has been wanting me to read it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll get to it. And she like reads almost every book like I recommend to her. And so like I had just finished Play It Along. I was like, I just need a little something. Why not? Let's dive right in. So I read God of Malice, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't get the hype. And for me, I don't know if it's because it came after Play It Along and like some other 5-star reads for me are like really good reads, or my expectation was so high that I was going to like love this book and it flopped for me. So like I don't know where I fall on that spectrum. Mm-hmm. So I gave it 3.5, and the only thing I liked about that was Killian, which is the male main character in the book, and he is like a literal psychopath, and his story of defying love and this, that, and the other with her, I really enjoyed, and I thought that was the only good thing about the book. So that's where we are on that. I will, though, read the second book to see where it falls. Like, if it's the series, like, that's just not it for me.
Yeah.
Or if it was just, like, a fluke and it was just the book.
It was just that specific one.
Correct. So we'll get back to that, on that one. And then I read Where There's a Will by Ember Hughes. I also received this as an ARC. One of my top reads of the month. 5 stars. I'm going to get more into detail about that in the ARC segment. But yeah, that was wow. That was I'm still recovering. What August releases are you excited about?
I'm not excited about any.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. There's literally no. Like, I wrote 2 that like should technically fall under things I'm excited about. I just like I'm not. The first one is Wisteria, which is by Adeline Grace, which comes out on August 20th. I still have to read the first 2 books. Oh. So it's like
you're excited about it, but you know you have to read 2 other books prior to
yeah. Books, so. And like I've been putting off reading the other 2 books for just a long time. So yeah, I'm not, but like I said, it's not the book's fault. But the other release was Daydream by Hannah Grace, which finally follows I don't remember what the hell his name is. One of the characters that he should have been the second book, probably. But also middle name Grace, which is interesting. Comes out on August 27th. I really want to love Hannah Grace's next book. I want to love it because I did enjoy Icebreaker so much. Wildfire really was the biggest letdown. Yeah. And so I kind of I'm kind of trying to consider, will I pick it up right away? No.
I think it's on my sister's TBR.
It is? Okay.
So I think that you should base it off that.
Okay. I probably will. I am, did she finish Reckless or no?
No. She started her new job this week.
So Reckless came out in obviously last month, the second book after Powerless. I enjoyed Powerless. It was touted as obviously something better than Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, or like not better, but like is something that you could read and then feel like you're still living that life. I did not agree with that. I didn't love Powerless near as much as obviously I love Fourth Wing and the Empyrean series as a whole. So I kept kind of going back and forth on whether I was going to read Reckless or not. And so I was I'm waiting for Kristen's take on it because I'm not, I keep putting it off. I was going to put it on my TBR for August, but I just like, I'm not drawn to it because I just didn't love, I jumped into Reckless and I honestly was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm reading. Cause like, I don't remember literally anything that happened in Powerless. So I may also have to just like recap myself as well. Yeah. But yeah, I want to read, I want to love Hannah Grace again. And I'm hoping that maybe it's like a Carly Fortune situation where the second book flopped but the third book was better. Okay. Cause I did enjoy the third book of Carly Fortune. So I'm hoping maybe that's kind of where we're at with Hannah Grace, that she maybe just made a little error in the release order of her books because she put Wildfire next and it was not what anyone wanted, which again, to be fair, obviously an author can release books in whatever order they feel of characters within an interconnected world, which is obviously in my opinion, I think that you kind of, as an author who has expressed that they are creating a series of books where all the characters are interconnected, you are going to have people who are not happy with the order in which you're releasing the books because they fall in love with certain characters and they're like excited, just like with what's it called, why am I blanking, with Lila Sage, because people were mad that they didn't get Teddy's book next.
Yeah. But I feel like though it wasn't set up for Teddy's book.
No, I don't either, but I'm just saying in this sense, like I don't think Icebreaker really set up for anyone's book next, to be honest with you. I don't think that I ever anticipated it being like a...
I also believe, and you'll probably agree with me, is that Lila Sage's series, though, is not interconnected standalones. They are legitimately a series. Happen the way they
but that's why I compared it to that, because Icebreaker was not interconnected standalones either.
They're not?
I think that they're just characters that are popping, because in Wildfire, I
didn't read it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
Wildfire did not, the characters were like, oh, hey, they're at the same house, like for like one scene. So it wasn't like very much like they're in the same universe.
Got it.
But so that's
they're
why
complete standalones.
Yes, I think that they have like the pop-up aspect.
Got it.
But it's similar to Abby Jimenez, like with Part of Your World, because I teeter on those being more interconnected because the characters are really like heavily involved in the stories. But regardless, I really do hope that this book redeems that, just because I want that for her, because I really did like die for Icebreaker. Yeah, and that's, it was so good.
And I will die on that hill.
No, I will as well. And I think that's been one of the bigger disappointments of her as an author, is because I wanted more out of Wildfire, because I just enjoyed Icebreaker so much, but it was just like lackluster at best. So that's how I feel personally. And I don't know if that's the general consensus of Wildfire, because Icebreaker was so amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a longer list than 2 for August releases. Frayed Bonds by Leah King. This is already out. It came out on the 2nd of August. Where There's a Will by Ember Hughes. It comes out on the 9th. Passenger Princess by Morgan Elizabeth. It also comes out on the 9th. Pieces of Us by Ashley Warren comes out August 28th. Owned by J.L. Quick comes out on August 16th. And Tangled Hearts by Mandy Muse will come out on August 30th. And Madness, which I believe is the last book in the Lord series, by Chantal Tessier, comes out August 30th as well. So that is on that. Before we get into the ARC segment, I want to talk about what's been going on with ARCs.
Yes.
Authors send out ARCs, whether they're through PR companies, marketing companies, or
street teams,
ARC teams that they create themselves. What's been happening lately is a lot of authors are finding their ARCs being pirated. So people are taking the links that they are receiving and putting them onto websites or sending them to people. Things like that. Well, authors are upset, obviously, as they should be. Marketing companies are upset, as they should be. And as an ARC reader, my heart breaks for those authors, honestly, because I'm on, I think, 4 ARC teams, and then I get ARCs from other PR companies as well. And if you're one of those people who are pirating, shame on you, and karma will come get you eventually. And just know that they know who you are, because they're not dumb. They actually watermark the books, even though it's a digital
and
copy.
It does tell you how many times people download.
Oh yeah,
links.
I have actually. So I'm on A.K. Landau's ARC team, and she actually posted about it. I thought I took a screenshot. Hold on, sorry. Maybe I didn't.
I wouldn't even know where to find any of these.
No,
so
literally. I'm also not tech savvy like that, so I wouldn't even know how.
I work in marketing. I work online. I couldn't even tell you where one would begin to find these things, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. It's this one. She had made a post. Let's see, where one of her books was pirated. Oh, here we are. So, I'm not gonna read the whole post because it doesn't, whatever. But one of her books, Enchanted Ventures, which I received the ARC from, was pirated nearly 100 times. So that's why she also she did a new ARC. After that happened, after 100 times of it being pirated, she scrapped the ARC team and she started fresh. So she redid it, and then for her next book, which was Double Play, Double Play and Curveball ARCs were both pirated over 40 times. And authors not only are they like, they have them watermarked, like in my ones from AK Landau, it like says like this is meant for, and then it has my email. Mm-hmm. And then, but digitally it's watermarked as well. But they also, authors are and companies are paying, actually like pirating companies to be on the lookout for their links. And so they know who they're coming from, and they just quietly remove them from any master lists, ARC teams, things like that. So
as they should.
Absolutely, as they should. But I just want to reiterate, like, that just like makes me so sad, just because being on someone's ARC team is like so special. And receiving an ARC is so special. Mm-hmm. And it should be taken seriously. Like, you have their art in your hands, and they are wanting you to, they're trusting you with it. Yes, they're not sending you a physical copy, whatever, who cares? You at least got something, and that's like so special, and it should be treated as such.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I just want to talk about that real quick, because it is something that's going around on the book community online. And so as one person that is an ARC reader, I just wanted to address that situation. So we're going to dive right in. I've got 3 arcs I'm going to cover real quick, and then we will wrap up.
Perfect.
All right. So we've got Pain in the Axe by Daphne Elliott. I got this. I'm on her ARC team. This is book 2 in the main Lumberjack series. The blurb: how to get revenge on my ex-husband. Step 1, buy his family's lumber business. Step 2, demote him and force him to work for you. Step 3, sit back and enjoy the sweet victory. Not part of my genius plan, sleeping with the enemy. Gus Hubert is no ordinary ex-husband. The grumpy lumberjack is hiding a big, squishy heart beneath those broad flannel-clad shoulders. And he delights in pushing my buttons, challenging me and flirting with me nonstop. Our mutual dislike grows as we're forced to work together, until one night, after a little too much wine, the fighting turns into foreplay. The situation only gets more complicated when I discover that I am having my ex-husband's baby. I fell for his broken promises once before and vowed never to trust him again. But as things heat up at work and at home, and the past mistakes threaten our future, we find that together we make a pretty good team. Soon I'm rediscovering long forgotten dreams, and I cannot give in to these growing feelings and fall for him again, because now I have 2 hearts I have to protect. The tropes are divorced exes, accidental pregnancy, revenge, dual POV, forced proximity, grumpy, it's always been you. I gave it 4.5 stars and 4 chili peppers. I'm obsessed with Gus Hubert. Like, where is this man? I need to like shake his hand. Like, he is just everything, and he deserves all his happiness after just giving up everything just to prove himself to his dad, who just screwed him essentially, and his family. And Chloe, she deserves to be loved and seen the way she's never been before. And again, secrets, like Daphne always does, secrets lie within, and mystery lie within the pages, which is even better. My quote is, in her proximity, I was happier than I ever remembered being. I felt like myself when I was with her. I was the complete version of Gus Hubert, the way I was supposed to be. The second arc is Frayed Bonds by Leah King. I got this from Truly Yours PR. This is book 1 in the Billionaire Bloodline series. This is available on KU, and it is her debut novel, which is even better. Ambrose Vital. If you told me a few years ago I would be the current CEO of Vital Holdings at 32, I would have probably laughed in your face. Yet somehow here I am. CEO? Check. Youngest billionaire in Europe? Check. Most eligible bachelor 4 years in a row? Check. A board of investors threatening to vote me out because of my questionable reputation? Double check. 11 ticks to be exact. I have everything in the palm of my hand except for one thing I really want. The one thing I truly think I cannot live without. Their confidence in me running this company. I have to turn this company and my reputation around before it's too late. My father has worked too hard for this to happen. I've worked too hard for this to happen. I just need to keep my head down and not fall victim to my brother's usual antics, and especially not to a certain pink-wearing distraction that just returned home and happens to be my new assistant. Valerie Farina, I might be butchering that one, but that's all right. Returning home to VC was never part of the plan. I was supposed to move to Paris to study and find an amazing art curator job, get married, and grow old with my beautiful children and loving husband while all enjoying the Parisian sunset. Wrong. Well, half right, if you count a failed marriage. Instead, I'm back to take care of my father as he prepares to undergo double hip replacement. But when the stupid medical insurance falls through, I'm left rather desperate for work. And you know what they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. It's just a question of how far I'm willing to go and to get the money I need. The city seems to be remained mostly the same, but the people are not the way I left them at all. The tropes are best friend's brother, fake dating-ish, billionaire romance, no third act breakup, dual POV, dislike to love, workplace romance, childhood crush, slow burn, and age gap. I gave this book 4 stars, 2 chili peppers. The quote is, "The contrast of her soft pink against my harsh black tattoos isn't lost on me, and it isn't lost on her either. As her eyes linger on my forearms again, we look like total opposites, but for some godforsaken reason, here we are helping each other." This book was actually really good. And like the slow burn, I'm not always a huge fan of, but the angst behind the slow burn was perfect. And again, debut novel, and I'm very excited to see what she does with the brothers as well. Okay, so last one, Where There's a Will by Ember Hughes. I received this from the Authors Agency. This is book 1 in the Conway Collateral Duet, available on KU. The blurb, Kinley. Colton rescued me when we were young. He breathed life into me during our years together, before I was forced to sever ties. No matter how much it hurt, no matter how much I hated it, I had no choice, because my father, Forrest Conway, gets what he wants at all costs. When Colton turns up 10 years later in my father's cellar as a captive, he doesn't just want to be set free. He wants to rescue me too. Again. The thing is, I'm not the only one who needs rescuing, and I'd give my life to save theirs. Will he let me? Colton. I have lived the last 10 years believing I'm a bad brother and a no good boyfriend. Not good enough to keep, at least. My father's passing brings me back to home, to Buffalo Trails, to the graveyard of my lost love. What I learned while I'm home is terrifying, and that's before I'm taken captive. Things only get worse from there, until I see her, Kinley Conway. My heart and soul, thin, bruised, and not speaking. I know no matter how bad I have it, I'll fight until the end to save her. It's the only choice. Tropes, dark romance, cowboy romance, trauma bonding, second chance, who did this to you, mute FMC, dual POV, and trigger warning and content warning. 5 stars, 3 chili peppers. I will be forever recovering from this book. It literally, I had all the emotions. Like, if you can read Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman and get through it, and read Hunting Adeline, the first part, and get through it, you can get through this book. It's a lot. It's very heavy. But I immensely enjoyed this, and I literally could not put it down. It was probably one of the fastest books like I read this month, like in time. The epilogue, jaw on my floor, set up for book 2. I'm like, I need it tomorrow. That's how I feel about it. The quote is, "This is my soulmate in the cellar beneath me, chained to this wall. This man has been wearing this ring for 10 years and we've been in love for so much longer. So also, fun fact about this author, it is her debut dark romance. She is writes under a pen name, and she's a contemporary romance writer originally. Wow. So for her to, that's a big jump, and she nailed it, honestly.
I love that.
I finished this and I was like, I cannot read at least for 24 hours. And I didn't pick up a book for 24 hours because I just needed to process everything that happened. And in the first time in a long time, I immediately sat down and wrote a review. Usually I wait a few days and, and jump into another book right away and all the things. This, I did not have that at all. Like, I had to sit down and write my thoughts out to help, but no joke, 7 to 10 business days. Thank you.
You're like,
So, but yeah, that is it for our wrap up episode. Next month, we are buddy reading. Hold on. It's called, oh my gosh, come on. Sorry. It's called Weddings, Revenge, and Fake Dating by Rebel Warren. It's a rom-com. It gives a little bit of best friend's wedding vibe. So if you like that movie with Julia Roberts, hopefully you'll like this book. So read with us.
Yes.
And that is all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Tropes and Tantrums. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. And don't forget, happy reading.